wanting to get ready for the mission God has called you to on this planet, one of the huge pieces that you're going to need to get ready for is how to explain his story, how to invite people into understanding what the message of the Bible is about, to see whether or not they can believe it and how they're going to respond to it. Let's imagine that you are here not over in Burma with foreigners to you, but you're here with people you're quite familiar with, your friends and your relatives here in Canada, or wherever it is you're listening from. And you've been doing a great job in this conversation of listening to their point of view and their ideas about how the world fits together and how the universe runs. And you've been reflecting back to them in a way that shows that you're listening, to the point that these folks that you're sitting with are saying, wow, I think you understand what I believe better than me. Can you tell me what you believe? Just go ahead and tell me, even if it's different. And you maybe have the chance to say, well, I'd love to share the story of the Bible with you. I'll try to do it in about 3 minutes. And when I get to the end, I'd love to hear what you like about this story and what you find difficult about this story, and what kind of makes you feel, I don't like that part. So here is the story of the Bible. I'll try to tell it to you in 3 minutes. Here's how the story begins, perhaps a little bit controversially right off the bat. It's all about God and his glory. That's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They're at the center of this whole story. Now, the first time you see God's glory showing up is in creation. He makes everything, the mountains and the birds and the rivers and everything that's out there, including the first man and woman. And we can look at that today and go, wow, that's pretty cool. That's amazing. That reflects back God's glory. Now, he also gave the first man and woman the freedom to give that glory back to him. Or they could decide to go their own way and kind of grab their own glory. And unfortunately, that brought about something called the fall. God told them, if you do it your own way, you're going to separate yourself from me and you are going to die. And this shows something else that's kind of controversial. It shows God's justice. Because he says, you're all going to die. And we can look around and see the whole world and say, as beautiful as mountains are, they'll kill you. The ocean is amazing, but there's a lot of stuff in there that'll drown you and bring an end to you. There's brokenness even in who we are as people, and we can feel this death lurking all around us. Fortunately, the Bible continues its story with the promise of blessing that's coming. And there's also this huge part in this long Old Testament part of the Bible that's all about wisdom, about how to live wisely on this planet according to the way God has made it, kind of like an owner's manual. Now, a lot of people see the Old Testament as only law, and from here people create a whole lot of religions to get their own righteousness and their own personal fix. But the story about from the Bible is this promise, this blessing that's coming of God sending a rescue. And God knew the rescue needed to be pretty special. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit had this conference way back when, and they realized the rescue is going to need to be an infinite rescue, and it's going to be a human thing. So the Son, the infinite God, became a human in order to die, to swallow up all God's justice. And he did that when he died on the cross. That's how God rescues us from the mess we've made. And because Jesus Christ rose from the dead, there's this big hope of everything being restored, new heaven and a new earth, everything beautiful and awesome. And you can see how that is going to be pretty cool. We'll be admiring God and enjoying God. And we're given a choice in the Bible about whether or not we want to receive this rescue. We can either say, God, thank you so much for loving me. Thank you so much for your grace, for rescuing me from all this. I accept Jesus and I want to get restored. I'm looking forward to the hope. And a huge piece of the Bible is here just before the restoration. There's going to be judgment about whether or not we accepted the rescue or whether or not we wanted to do it on our own. So as you look at this story, what do you like about it? And what do you find difficult to swallow or troublesome to you? Now here, what's really important is if you're sitting with your friend or your relative and you're explaining the story of the Bible, it's important that you really actually listen. And one of the ways to show that you're actually listening is maybe to say, oh, so you like this part and you like this part, but this part really troubles you. And you might even write down what their objection is. And if you actually write it down, they'll see that you're listening, and it'll take the energy down, and there won't be this butting heads kind of feeling, and you may get a chance to explain the gospel a little bit better to them based on where their objections really are and based on where they're already enjoying the story of the Bible. Oh yeah, so one last thing to say. It may be that they're ready to take the next step right away, or it may be that they go, whoa, that's a pretty big story. I have a really different worldview, but I would like to learn more about this. And it may be at that point that you have the opportunity to say, well, would you like to begin reading the Bible with me to see if this is something you can believe or not? And we can kind of take it a little bit more slowly. And then you could look at something like Discovery Bible Study, which you'll see the link maybe right here or down below somewhere on the page here, of how you could engage in reading the Bible with them regularly to help them move towards faith in Jesus and accepting this whole story. Thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again soon, I hope.